then I'll go. Thought that I'd just drop by and let you know that I'm leaving town tomorrow. I'll cause you no more sorrow. I'll just have a cup of coffee, then I'll go. I brought the money like the lawyer said to do. It won't replace all the heartaches I've caused you. It won't take the place of loving you, I know. I'll just have a cup of coffee, then I'll go.
Welcome back to the channel, Grand Columbia, and welcome to yet another Coffee Time Live. Today, it's kind of bright. I've been playing havoc with the camera. I may have to go to some manual settings, but it's beautiful out. It's right around 70, 72 degrees, a little overcast, but pretty nice. So what do we got here? Coleman, hello from Florida, moving my sister. Then you get a vacation. Awesome. Good morning, Vietnam. Best movie of all time. Definitely a good one. Greetings from Finland. Yuka, how you doing? And as always, thank you. Let's see. Getting cold over there. Yeah, when are you coming to Colombia? Mike, how you doing, Mike? Went out to see Mike's apartment last week. Pretty awesome. Don't yell, but I will. Rob, how you doing, Rob? Saw you were busy cheering on for Colombia yesterday. First snow here. Yeah, I'm from near Buffalo, and they definitely got hammered. Emil, how you doing? No, it's not clickbait. I do have a confession to make. I'll make it in a little while. Not really earth-shattering, but I will say, I got a comment from somebody that said, your channel's about Colombia. How come sometimes you talk about, you know, your channel itself or maybe personal things? My channel is my life in Colombia. Most often it's directly about Colombia, but you know, I'm living here and there's day-to-day things, and some people that are interested in moving somewhere are curious to know what it's like day to day. And I'm here to say it's like everywhere else. You have your issues to contend with. So first of all, my glasses. I talked to you about the glasses. Some said, well, you paid too much. Well, I don't know. These are top of the line lenses, every option you could get. Got a free extra pair and, you know, guaranteed forever. My main pair that I really like, they're really comfortable. They had no weight to them. They got broken. The frames got broken. So I had to wear my backup pair. It was nice having the backup pair. And I didn't really pay attention when I chose the backup pair, and they kind of suck. I really don't like them. So anyway, I go back. I said, well, let's see how this warranty is, because these glasses, the frames are just broken, you know. So I go in, and they said, yeah, no problem. They're warranty, free charge. Awesome. Problem was, the only ones they had on premises that moment were these things. I don't know if you can see, but they're kind of a blue tint. I'm not a big fan, but they fit like the other ones. They're just as light, And I figured, well, I don't have to look at it. The alternative would be to order up, the pair like I had, and it would have taken probably about 2 days. Excuse me. So I said, nah, go ahead. So I got these blue ones. So for those who are wondering about the warranty, if it was worth anything, that was pretty cool, It's like there was someone here that was cleaning and knocked them off my studio desk, and they broke in 2 places. The frame right here, and put them back on the desk. I realized it a day or 2 later, and certainly wasn't the fault of the place I bought the glasses. So that was pretty cool. Okay. What else we got? What have I been doing the last few weeks, aside from what I'm going to get to? I've been traveling around locally quite a bit. Went to Pueblo Tapao 3 times. I went to Manizales twice. And I actually am going again Wednesday. Just going up in the morning, coming back in the afternoon. 6-7 hours driving for a 3-hour stint. Been to Pareda 4 times. And went to the airport a couple times. So, it's been pretty busy. Now, I want to mention, I covered last week I mentioned credit and leasing of the vehicle, and I got a couple emails on it. And I tried to explain a few weeks ago. I don't tell you what to do because I could care less what you do when it really boils down to it. You do what you want to do. I give my advice, and my advice is based on things that I've run into or things that I've come aware of. And so I'm going to repeat what I said a few weeks ago because it came up again. Some of the things that I give advice on is don't buy property. But then you got to hear the rest of it. 6 months to a year. Give it some time. There's a reason. It's not the easiest thing in the world to unload property once you buy it. And there could be issues with where it is you're going to buy. And it takes time to figure out what those may be. Maybe there's a plan to put up a high-rise in front of the view on your front porch, and you didn't realize that. But if you're here after a while, it comes up in the newspaper, you'll see the announcements. There's any number of reasons, and because it's a hefty investment, that's my advice. Hold off so you don't end up accidentally making a big mistake that's difficult to reverse. But as far as buy property, what do I care if you buy property? Do I think it's a good idea or bad idea? In general, it's fine. I have no problem with it. In Ecuador, I had a problem because you can buy property and then 5 years later, people can contest it because they're not very good at documenting ownerships, and it can come back to bite you. Here, it's not like that at all. Everything's well documented. You buy it, you own it. So as far as in general buying property, well, if you're getting an investment visa, you don't have a whole lot of option anyway, right? So there's that. Another thing is I say don't open a bank account. Well, don't open a bank account when you get here and for a period of time. Unless you've got a particular reason, like somehow there's some things that you would need a bank account for, but in general, you come here to retire or to whatever, you don't need a bank account. But if you're involved in business or you're going to open a business or something, then you're going to have one. And I've explained in the past, I won't go into it now, the reasons that, I think to delay 1 or 2 years on opening an account, there's a lot of reasons to do that. Get in, get settled, make sure of your situation, make sure that you don't fall into a reporting situation that can cause you problems. Because here, like everywhere, you can be legal doing tax issues this way. And in this case, you might owe taxes. Or you could be legal doing taxes this way, and you're legal, and you don't have to pay taxes. Now, if either one is perfectly acceptable, why would you choose to throw money away? So there's, and this happens in the US, so I think you have a sense of what I'm trying to say. Your circumstance will be determined over a period of time, in which case then you're making a wise, educated choice, and you're not going, oh, I wish I'd never done that, because you went in the wrong direction. So there's caveats to it, but it's difficult when you're trying to explain a particular topic and you don't want to go endlessly off in the weeds about all the nuances of it. And so when I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about when you're moving here. I'm not talking to people that have been here 2 or 3 years or more, because the truth of it is, if they've been here 2 or 3 years or more, they'll already know the things that I'm warning about. And so for them, it won't be an issue. So there's that. And then I say, it's foolish to drive. It's foolish to get a license. It's foolish to get a car. Again, initially, or unless you have a specific reason, because public transportation is awesome. There's few times you actually need to get one. There's plenty of people around. There's a guy, 25,000 pesos. He'll basically drive you around for the day. He'll be your personal driver, and you'll find people like that. Well, that's what, a sixth or a seventh of what it costs to rent a car. So there's that. So all of these things, I think it's important to understand that when I'm giving my advice, I'm giving the advice to people who aren't familiar with here or very familiar with here, to get them started on the right foot. And then as they learn, then they'll make those choices. And I don't know, apparently I don't make it clear enough, but it's how much can you talk about, a particular topic, and how far off do you go? I think it's always been, at least I've always assumed, that I'm mostly speaking to people that are contemplating maybe visiting here, but usually the possibility of retiring here. And so that's who I direct that kind of information to. I have one guy, insisted he's lived here for a number of years and he's got Bank Colombia, and that I'm all wrong about the bank and like that. And it's like, he's right, but it doesn't fit why I say what I say. So I hope that's understandable. Now, we're down to the confession. Let me fortify myself. Well, let's get to the Rob, where the glasses info, the big secret. No, we're going to get to it. Tint the lenses blue. You'll be styling. Well, they're already, go out in the sun, and what do you call them? Transition lenses. All those places better than 6 feet of snow. Yeah, don't miss it at all. I've always said this, upstate New York, and as you know, I've traveled a lot. And upstate New York is one of the most glorious, beautiful places on this planet. I mean, it is up there. 6 months of the year. The other 6 months, it's a living hell. And it gets old. You're right on the money, best not to buy. You can stick and move in dicey situations if you rent. Yeah, rent, I mean, it's, a couple $100 a month, and things are taken care of for you. And if you change your mind about where you're living, you can go somewhere else, or you can intentionally, well, I'm going to live here for a year. Then I'm going to go over here and live here for a year. And then maybe I'll decide to buy something. And, you have the flexibility to do that. I know a guy that spent almost 200,000 on a penthouse in Medellin. That's not hard. He was robbed when he was in Florida and lost his sense of security, quite a few dollars in personal property. Yeah, Medellin is getting pretty sketchy. When people talk about crime, particularly in Colombia, you kind of take it with a grain of salt because they'll see one report and all of a sudden that applies to everything everywhere. Where, pick a city in the United States, you'll have that same type of report only 50 times that day, and somehow that's different. But it has been on the increase there, and it's getting into a bit of concern. They need to do something to reverse that trend. Mint. Best to rent in out of home country location. You can stick move. Okay, saw that one. All right. Oh yes, the confession. Am I stalling? All right. It's not that big a deal, but I tend to be, believe it or not, kind of a private person. And as you know, I had the flu a few weeks ago. Lost my voice, and then I was getting better. Well, I had a relapse, and it turned into pneumonia, and I got seriously ill. And I'm feeling much better. The antibiotics are halfway through the course, and I get up out of bed and feel alive again. I don't tell you guys that. It's like, I don't want to whine every time I get something. But I'm mentioning it because people will assume the worst, and I get messages and people pay attention to things. I'm fine. It's on its way back. Pneumonia is not good for me. I've got damaged lungs. I had pneumonia really bad a number of years ago. I mean bad. It took me 6 months to recover. I was on death's door for a little while. And it messed up my lungs. And that's why the altitude thing can be an issue for me. And then when I was in Cuenca that last year, I got pneumonia 5 times. That's why I had to leave. At the time, I was planning on 6 months here, 6 months there. I couldn't do it. I had to get out of there. The altitude was causing some of that situation. And it's not fun, but it even messed up my lungs all the more. So when I get pneumonia, it can be pretty stubborn. This was pretty stubborn. And if you've ever had it, it's not fun. I mean, you cough violently and you pull muscles on your ribs, and you can't sleep unless you're sitting up in a chair. And it was all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'm here doing this. I'm still kind of in recovery mode, but I'm not contagious, and I'm actually feeling pretty good. I have for the last 2 days. The antibiotics kicked in pretty good. So there's that. It's further complicated by something I don't believe I've ever mentioned. That I was sick. I had cancer, and I was in bed, and all of that. Well, after that was over, I was prescribed a medication while I was still in the U.S. to take 1 a day for the rest of my life. I won't go into details, it doesn't matter, but it's like kind of a preventative thing. So I've been doing that. So we're going on almost 8 years. Downside of this medication is that one of the, symptoms, one of the side effects, it destroys your metabolism. You have virtually no engine running. And I've been contending with that since I left the United States and lived in Ecuador and here. And the problem is, if I have a little period of time where I do get sick, the recovery is difficult because I don't have the same energy because of that metabolism. So it's a little more difficult to bounce back. So this time, I gave this a lot of thought. There was a period of time I was of concern. I'm here alone in the house. What if this? What if that? I went into, if you've ever had pneumonia, you'll know what I'm talking about. I went into this coughing fit where I couldn't catch my breath. And I mean, you almost feel like you're going to die because you're just gagging and choking and you can't stop and you can't breathe. And it sucks. That's when you're pulling muscles on your ribs and stuff. It's pretty violent. And I'm thinking, it's not the best situation. So I need to get me a family. So I again, private, I don't really talk to you guys about it, but I date once in a while. So this one girl that I, see once in a while, it's like, we get along really well. It's very chill. We are who we are kind of thing. And so I posed the question of her to her because it came up that her mother, grandmother, her long time, she was married once, but then she's had for years a partner, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it. Well, here there's common law marriage, so after 2 years, I think, then legally it's the same as a husband. He just up and left her a couple weeks ago. And it was a bit of a shock to everybody. So I'm looking at that situation and I'm thinking, I get along great with her. Her mother / grandmother is cool. She's got a brother who's 8 years old. She's got a 1.5-year-old baby, and they got a little dog. Now, you'd think, whoa, that's a lot. Well, it is, but I've got extra rooms and things. So I talked to her about it, and I decided to give it a try. So we're on a trial basis, but I have to tell you, it's been awesome. The advantage to them is, now her mother works, she's a security guard, but they're alone. Most of her money will go to rent and the utilities and food and all the basic things, being alone there. And so they could get by, but it will get tight. And so I'm thinking, well, I'm already paying rent and utilities here anyway. So what if you come here, there's no rent, there's no utilities, I take care of that. Then the money that she makes, every payday, she can save or whatever. And so everybody agreed, let's give it a try. They've been very respectful. It's nice. Every time I put something down, it gets picked up and cleaned, and all of those things are kind of nice. But it's the reasoning I gave you is actually what motivated this. I really felt I needed to do something. If you remember, in Ecuador, I had the 2 sisters and their children living with me, and that was back when I was having those bouts of pneumonia. It just, I'm not looking to end it tomorrow, and so I think you have to consider those things if you come here alone. I like being alone, and I expressed quite a bit about not just my desire, but the necessity to be alone. And they've been great with it. And for example, I know you couldn't hear it, but they're downstairs. And the baby just started, making some noise. It was almost distracting to me. But it's quite a ways away, and you have to be pretty loud in order for it to carry up to the studio. Well, she just gathered them up and went out to the playground, so I didn't have to say anything. It just handled, and they've been like that. So we'll see. I'm sacrificing part of what I love, but it makes the most sense to me right now. And because of the situation, it's not like, they're unemployed or something. We can always reverse it. As a matter of fact, they asked me yesterday, am I happy with it, or should they start packing up? Where do we stand? So, and that's good to know that it's like I don't have to pry somebody out with a crowbar. And I asked them, and they really enjoy, being here. So, so there's that. I also found out from another email that a man who's in the United States, but he's part Colombian. He's got a grandfather here in Armenia, and he said that he got the flu and it turned real serious, and that he was told that there's something like that around here in Armenia. Don't know broader. Now, I had heard something similar, and I even mentioned it about 2 months ago. There's been something around here. There's been a lot of illness which you almost never saw before. I mean, you just never saw sick people before. It was so few and far between. Somebody might get the sniffles for a day, but now it seems like you got a lot of people getting the flu, and the flu is kind of deep-seated. And it got to me, and somebody said to me, well, is it COVID? I don't think so. I had COVID twice, and it's very different. This is way worse than COVID. COVID was nothing. It was a walk in the park. I mean, each of the 2 times I had it, I was really only sick one day. Then I was just really tired for, a few weeks out there. And part of that, is a medication I had to take. I mean, I never know. I'm always tired. It's like if I have to go do something, I can't just get up and go do it. I have to psych myself up to it, give myself no choice. I have to go do it because, when you just don't have energy, it's easy to just say, another day. So that's it. That's my confession. That's where, that's the picture of what my life is. It's not my health is bad in general, but sometimes we have to go through these things. And fortunately, I'm on a downhill slide. Hopefully I have no more relapses. For me, pneumonia is about as bad as it gets. And I'm no longer having the issues. I can actually sleep laying down in bed again. What a relief that is. It gets old sitting up in a chair. Let's see, what do we have here? Hello from California. I heard a couple weeks ago the president got elected there in Colombia, was blaming the U.S. for all the setbacks on the economy affecting other countries. I don't know. I honestly don't care. Politics is kind of a fun sport for me, and sometimes I get into it and want to talk about it, but most of the time I really could care less because it's not my life, and it's not people's lives in general. The guy's an idiot. I'm not a fan of his. On the other hand, he hasn't really done anything, so I'm very appreciative of that. Let's hope he serves out his term where he continually does nothing. I love it. Just let things roll. That will be cool. Why not get a vaccine for pneumonia? Yeah, I'll pass on the vaccines. No, I'm not anti-vax, but I have my reasons for that. I understand. When I had pneumonia really bad, it was about 30 years ago. And I'm not exaggerating when I say I was on death's door. It was a sheer fluke. I was supposed to be hospitalized, and it was misunderstood, and I was driven back home. I was kind of delirious. But anyway, that was like 30 years ago. And then it was only in Ecuador, we're going back the last 5 and 6 years, for that year where I got pneumonia and got it again, but it was very specific reasons. And I can say that for the most part, here in Colombia, I've been pretty healthy. I've had, I think, 3 bouts of illness in the last 5 years here. It's not bad considering, you know, you're 69 years old, you come with lung problems, and, you know, when you have a lot of people around that are sick these days, then obviously you got more of a chance to catch something. More of it's happening now. Never saw that before, didn't get sick before. So, so there's that. Get a little scratchy. I don't think that ever ends well, moving a family into your home. Personal opinion, yeah, it could be a disaster. On the other hand, how bad could it be? Because if I said go, they'll go today, or worst case in the morning. So it's not a big deal. But I'm not feeling it. It's feeling good. I'm actually appreciating a lot of it. I've been alone for a long time, so you know this is kind of new again, and it's not new in a bad way. They're really making it comfortable for me. Smart move, getting a family. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's the move that at the time seemed like it made sense to me. When I went through what I went through and realized what the alternative could have been, it just seemed like I ought to have somebody here. It can be hard living alone. Well, except for what I'm talking about, I actually love living alone. I really do. I don't get lonely. I enjoy my own company. I have a lot to do. You can actually play these guitars, and there's a few video games that I like to play once in a while, and you know, I'll read my Kindle and go for a walk. I mean, I really do love living alone. But this is interesting too. So what is it? Grand Colombia, my life and adventures. Well, there's my new adventure. We'll see how it goes. Only my wife is living in my place after a prenup. Well, you could say we got a prenup. Congrats for the new family. Can a person get health insurance with pre-existing conditions? Yes. Any age, any conditions, no problem. If you have a cedula. We give Colombia $450 million a year. Huh? Who else? Oh, I see what you mean. I don't know. Oh yeah, so we got Juka. Thank you. I mentioned that earlier. Then we got one here, anonymous. And I know that's you, Jerry. I know it's you. I'll look it up later, but I know it's you. HD chillin', thank you. Thank you all. I was with somebody yesterday. He's visiting, and he's got a girlfriend from Bogota, and they're here because they're contemplating when he moves here to live in this area. So I was showing him around, and we were talking about the channel and, you know, how it works. He has some knowledge of some of this, and, you know, so we're talking about it, and, you know, and I was mentioning that, you know, YouTube, I get nothing from, and it's you guys that actually keeps it going. So he's here and he's looking at, you know, what the studio is made up of, and, you know, and it dawned on him, yeah, this isn't free, it costs, and yeah, it does. And it's you guys that just keep it going, so I thank you. Yeah, it's quite a confession that you have 2 wives and 2 children. Go for it. Cartoons on Saturday morning is most excellent. Yeah, there's that. But yeah, I got to understand that over the course of time here, as I've upgraded I haven't gotten real things. So for example, I started off with a used 42-inch Samsung TV, paid $60 or $70 for it, delivered. Then I got a newer one. It was less than a year old, and I got it. It was just a great deal, and had a little bit better specs, and so I got that. So, and then when I was in the place I loved over there, there was a special for 50-inch 4K, all kinds of options. And it was a special through an account that I've got, and it was under $200 delivered. So I got it. So I got the big one in the living room. I got the nicer of the two smaller ones, and one in my bedroom and one in the other bedroom. It's really coming in handy now. The one was where if you guys came and stayed here for a night or two, you had a TV in there. So I hung on to those things. And I thought, well, it'd be good to have one in the bedroom, you know, go fall asleep to the Bills struggling to win, you know. And then, of course, in the living room. So, you know, I've accumulated it. And it's funny because all three of those TVs cost less than what a TV generally would cost. But the moral of the story is the bedroom on mine's on one end of the house, one of the other bedrooms on the other end of the house. And there's a TV in there, so they can shut the door, play the TV. You can't hear anything. When you shut the doors, you can't hear anything. Plus, there's a TV downstairs, so they can, if I'm working in the studio, the rule is they all go downstairs. And when I'm done working in the studio, I'll go downstairs and they can stay down there, or they can come upstairs or whatever. But if I'm working in the studio, everybody downstairs. So it's, you know, it's handy having TVs. So, so there's that. Let's see. Let's make this official. Your questions. Remember, 4 question marks first, then ask the question. Okay, we got good morning, just a family or a girlfriend also. Well, like I said, we had been dating on and off. You could count on a hand of friends / dates that people that I call on and, hey, come on over, we'll watch a movie or whatever. But she's one that I really kind of been focused on for a number of months now. You know, family or girlfriend. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it is. Who knows? So, do we have any questions? Come on, you know you want to tear up my throat. Today, cran grape, ocean spray. Now they sell this right here in Armenia, but one of the trips to Parade, I stopped in Price Mart, and I got the 2 big jugs of it for, I don't know, 29 cents or whatever it is, Costco version, because I really like this stuff, and I just don't get it very often. Mostly because I go to the store, and I don't want to carry them. They're heavy, along with everything else, you know. What kind of antibiotics and dosage that are prescribed for your sickness? Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't want to go into detail, but I can take anything. I'm not. I have no restrictions. I can take penicillin, amoxicillin. Any of them are fine. It does have to be for pneumonia. It has to be kind of a stronger dose. Well, what they're doing with me, I have to do it 3 times a day, and normally This one would be twice a day. Pardon. Young girlfriend. They're all younger than me. So, you know, what do you want me to say? Everybody's younger than me. I wanted to stock up on some different antibiotics for my father when I'm there. You can get whatever you want. I mean, it's all available. I just had them delivered. I didn't even go get it. So, always be prepared. Yeah, well, it's kind of what I'm doing. It's this whole thing, like I say, it's kind of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. It hasn't been that long, so you never know. I had to go back to one of these. You know, it's like going back in time. All right. Do we have any questions? As long as we're confessing. There. My confession is complete. What have you been cooking up in the kitchen? Funny you ask that. I got some short ribs. Well, the price of beef has been skyrocketing in Colombia. There's some kind of issue there. But I cooked up some short ribs, pulled them off the bone, put in some onions, some carrot, some peas, slow cooked it, and made a beef stew out of short ribs. After I did that, I put it in the refrigerator so all the grease would rise to the top, and then I could pull it off as a frisbee, so it wouldn't be greasy. And it was delicious. What else? I made lasagna last week. And, along with this, I got a Smithfield spiral ham. And so I'll be cooking that up this coming Thursday. I got a Thanksgiving ham. And I got a couple turkey legs that I'll be having those as well. I won't be eating them, but like all of them. But I got a couple turkey legs. I think that's about all I got there. I didn't get that much, but turkey legs are difficult to find here in Armenia. So it's really hit and miss. And spiral ham, it's the first time I've seen it, but then again, I've never really thought about it. So I don't really know. But I saw it, and so I got to have that. It's been a long time. All right, what else we got here? Any more of those ribs? Well, when I was done, it was more of a ropa vieja. It was more of a shredded beef. But ribs, they got so much flavor. It was awesome. Let's see, 67 will be younger. Talking about in her 30s. Come on, confess. That's nobody's business. I mean, what if she's like 15? You know? Think I'd want the world to know that? I know, I shouldn't even joke about those things. Change this to Sunday Confessional Hour with Father Lauren. Yeah. Well, the only reason I figured I'd do that is I got a number of inquiries, a few in the comments, but I get emails. And are you sure you're okay? And like that. And I'd say, well, I don't want anybody worrying about it. Why don't I just tell them? Excuse me. Good idea on the refrigeration after the slow cooker meal. Yeah, I hate it when it's greasy. And that's the easiest way to get rid of grease. I mean, they make those pitchers that'll pour off. It's too much. It's too much of a pain. I had one of those once. You know the problem is that grease goes through that tube, You ever try to clean that tube? It's a freaking nightmare. It's really difficult to clean. You throw it in there, you just pull the disc off. I mean, and it's done. Smithfield. No, I mean Smithfield. I love them. So if you don't buy one, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to steal that for the holidays, buddy. Where did you get ricotta cheese? PriceSmart is out of stock. I got it PriceSmart. No, they had a whole bunch of it. It wasn't in the cheese where they have the bag of mozzarella. It was in the, I guess you'd say more of the deli section. And there's plenty of it there. I forget what brand, but it was a real good brand. We have Smithfield Foods here in South Dakota. Yeah, you know, the spiral ham that, you know, you pack it with all those spices and stuff, and it just kind of slow cooks in the oven. It's already cooked, but, you know, all that just kind of melds in there, and it's like, man, it's just so good. Andromeda, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Let's see. I confess that I keep missing your live. You know, there you go. We came out of daylight savings last month. Yeah, I didn't even know it had changed. I mean, it doesn't change for us. So now you come an hour earlier here in Belgium. Ooh. Yeah, well, I get it. Smithfield has been rated among the worst for animal cruelty and uses pigs literally steeped in their own feces. It's confirmed. Google it. Yeah, okay. Tastes delicious. Okay, back to PriceSmart. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was round. It was a little larger than a hockey puck and about 4 times thicker. 3 times thicker. So it was about that thick and about that round. And it was really good. I liked how it was dry enough where I could actually crumble it up. And I love it when it's like that. It's a little harder for me to work with when it's the real wet stuff. So, man, it's good. Okay. And they had lasagna for the first time. They'd never had it. And they've never had turkey. And they've never had a spiral ham. And I'll be sure to tell them that it's made out of pig guts or whatever. You know, just keep everybody happy, you know. PriceSmart is awesome in Costa Rica. Large portions, good prices. Yeah, well, you have to be aware. I've noticed that there are some things that I can buy locally that ultimately are cheaper than if I buy it at PriceSmart. But the thing about PriceSmart is it's a place to go to get things that you generally can't get anywhere else. So I have kind of a general rule. It's not hard and fast, but if I can buy it locally, I don't get it out of PriceSmart, with few exceptions. So love you, Lauren, no matter what you eat. Thanks, I appreciate that. We can't all be vegans. My state wouldn't last long. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm not going to spend my life at this point battling injustices because they're everywhere in everything. And, you know, I'll leave it for you. You go battle away. And if you do something about it, I'm sure they'll come up with an alternative, and I'll still get my Smithfield spiral ham. Wanted to mention Jennifer and I will be traveling through South America December 1st through early July, so our apartment will be available, and we're looking. I'll get to that in just a second. I'm in Missouri, so far from vegan. Just have to take information late. I'll do battle for both of you. Okay. Become vegetarian. No thanks. Never be vegetarian. Too many health problems. You know, I'll just stay with what I got. Okay. I got 3 advertisements, but they're advertisements that some of you are going to be very interested in. So we're going to start with first one. As you know, I've been hawking this insurance company for, I think, going on a year now. No complaints out of it, except the one guy was 70 and they don't sell after 69, I believe. This is the biggest discount I've seen them have. It's only until 28th of November. The link is in the description below this video. You'll find the link there. It also, I believe, comes up with that stream element things in chat. But it's 15% off. And the thing is, you don't have to buy, let's say you're planning on coming 3 months from now. You can buy it now at the 15% off. It doesn't matter when you're actually going to use it. And if you're moving here, you need a couple months of it anyway. Well, technically you need 3 months, but she's been getting it done with 2. You probably want to go 3 just to be safe, but so there's that. Yeah, I got this because so many people were asking me, what insurance should I get? Well, this is the best one I could find. And so far, so good. All right, number 2, since Emil stepped in and mentioned that he's going to be out of town for a period of time, his place is up for grabs again. So check this out. Okay, so there's that. Now, I realize it's a little blurry. Don't blame me. I didn't do the video. And I didn't know what the status. I checked information. 900 is way high. Steve, no, it's not. Because this is for short term. You're talking about something long term. It would be high. It's not 400 over the value, because if you check the Airbnb in that building, this is very competitive with them, and it's a lot nicer with way better furniture. I got nothing in it, you know, it's like, but I got to set the record straight. I'm very familiar with this. I know what people are paying in those Airbnbs in that building. It's a popular building. It's a clubhouse. It's right there on Bolivar, and it's on the other side of this little forest here from me. If those trees weren't there, I could see that building. Very familiar with it, and I've met a number of people that have stayed in those Airbnbs. As a matter of fact, the guy that I was talking about, that we were having a conversation yesterday about my studio, that's where they're staying. So if you go apples to apples, it is not expensive. It's only expensive if you're trying to get a year lease on an apartment to rent. Well, of course it would be, but that's not what that situation is. That is cheap. Where are you going to get that apartment anywhere else for that kind of money? It's But I don't want to get in a situation where I'm just saying, Steve, you're looking at one thing and trying to apply it to something else, and it just doesn't work. What you want to do is look at those other Airbnbs, look what they're doing, and you'll all of a sudden see. And this is his personal place that he's putting up with his furniture that he lives with. So Vietnam or Thailand, that's 400. Well, we're in Colombia. So Steve, I like you. You're a cool guy, but you're off base on this because it simply is not true. That apartment, if that apartment were up for a year lease, it would be probably around $400, maybe a little more. That's not what this situation is. Okay, enough of that. And the last one, and I'm going to run this again because it's still there, still going on. And I had a couple people email me, and I'd rather here, just check it out again, because if nothing else, another chance to take a look at a little Manizales footage. Manizales, the most beautiful city in all of Colombia, the city in the clouds. Okay, so, and no, I'm not getting a commission on these. There's people I know in situations, and I think I understand where you're coming from, but I know that it's actually a pretty good deal, particularly over December and January. Good luck even finding hotels in that point if you wait till the last minute. So, yeah, holidays gets tough. I got to make the daylight savings time adjustment. Great show. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mike, are you still planning to open a cafe where you live now? I don't know if he's still on, but I know that he's not where he's living. His situation changed. Primary thing is being happy with where you are. He was happy where he was, but he's in heaven right now. Told you I went out to visit him, and his wall of the living room is all windows, and he had them open, and he's got a couple He's on the 3rd floor, but it's on the edge of it's almost the edge of a cliff, edge of a mountain. And he had all these hummingbirds flying around. And you look out that window or windows, and there is Armenia, like, 8 miles away. And then there's mountain range, and there's mountain range behind that, one behind that. And on a clear day, it was a little overcast, you can see the snow-capped mountains, way back. Yeah, it was something. It was, I'm a little jaded with views. Everywhere I've lived except here has had amazing views. And the thing is, I love it. It's very cool. But after a while, it almost becomes background noise. I mean, it's still gorgeous. You still love it, but it just kind of falls in the background noise and becomes less important. Although I miss it now that I'm here and I don't have it. But that one, man, I don't know. That one is just, it was like going up to the Grand Canyon. I mean, it was like, oh, wow. It was pretty spectacular. So, yeah, I know he's pretty happy out there. All right. Do we have anything else? We've run the hour. I bore my soul. Got in a fight with Steve. Let's see. Don't thermal baths help for your health problems? Isn't Santa Rosa de Cabal near Armenia? It's about an hour and a half or so. A hot shower actually helps really well. Any kind of heat on your chest helps break up the congestion. Those baths there, they're basically public. I mean, all these people around. I don't really think it would be appropriate for me to go there hacking up. Yeah, you're not wrong, but it's funny you mentioned that because I had a conversation with my new family about that. I'm not going to go do that. Turtle, what are you saying? He's saying that he's got to move quick because of his health thing, and he's dropping the price on his stuff. So that you know, his stuff is all it's all really high quality. You can't even buy a lot of that stuff like in Armenia or Pareda unless you go to PriceSmart, for example, or you have it shipped in or something. It's all really, really good stuff. Like I cook and I recognize the pots and pans, and they're you got 3-ply stainless. It's that's not cheap stuff. Oh, what are you selling? If you, Tommy, if you go back and look at this video and you can just replay what I showed you, those videos show pretty much most of what's there, except his clothes, I imagine. I don't know how I let that one get in there. Well, it shows the walk-in closet, but really you're just looking at all his clothes. All right. So yeah, it's been an eventful day. Told you all about nothing. Thanks for hanging in there. And I have to tell you, even though, I get all of these messages, it doesn't annoy me. I actually appreciate that people are concerned. I do appreciate it. So, thank you for that. And we're going to wrap it up here. I miss Colombia. Hope to be returning to Colombia at least 6 months of February, March. It's a great place to be. Most every day, despite your day-to-day living stuff, Kind of feels like you're on vacation. It's pretty awesome. All right, we're going to end it here. Thank you, guys. I will see you next week. I'll report on the family. Maybe I'll even introduce them at some point. Ciao.